Alrighty then. What's going on, guys? What's happening, ladies and gents? Oh, everybody's jumping right in there. Awesome. John Beck's in there. Agama Gama's in there. Photography, Light and Magic. Martin Steed. Daryl Howard. Digger. Libby T. Oh, yeah. Andrew Haberman. What's going on, everyone? Jason McVeigh. Gulam Mustafa. What's going on? Just saying hi. Glenn Judd. Clerks 93. What's going on? Carasa 4123. Hi, Chris. Hi, all. Season's greetings. Ticker Bass says hi, everyone. Miss Heard, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope everything's well. 357 Robbie. Tony Deverne. Robert Morgan. Everybody's saying, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Same to you guys. And I hope everybody had a good Christmas. I know I did. It was great. No problems. Good dinner. Yeah. I'll have to walk across the United States just to burn it off. But yeah, other than that, it was great. The only downside to it is I had a last weekend after the Hangout. It wasn't an hour later. I had this sore throat. Oh my God. It just, boom, had a cold just hit me like that. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the last video, my voice was kind of hoarse and it's still not 100%. And it's like, if I start coughing and everything else, I'll probably have to end this because, how you talk a lot, voice, dries out, gets tickled, and the next thing you know, you're coughing and gagging and everything else. Not good. So we're like on the very last stretches of this cold, so to speak. You still got that little bit of itchiness, kind of congestion a little bit, but not too bad. Test one. All right. Audio seems fine. We have vision. Oh, yeah. John, you said great video of Mars cover-up, Chris. Yeah, every time we see these things now, I don't know about you guys, it's like almost instant. It's like you can't unsee these things, right? You look at these Mars photos, and I like doing the gigapans because, again, we can see this whole swath of area as opposed to just one small picture, which I'm not really fond of. I'd rather have something shows the whole area, and then you can get some kind of idea. Okay, you can see it's very small in there, but many times if you get just a single photo, what happens is you just see that. Like, in other words, let's say there's one important thing in that one picture, but that's all you see is just that one picture. You go, is this thing like an inch big? Is it like, 40 feet wide? Is it, so even though we still have a problem with the scaling because they don't offer any, which makes it really difficult, but you could still step back from the whole pan and actually see the whole area and say, okay, well, there it is way up at the top, and you get, you can actually see at least what it's sitting in or around. So that's what I like about that. But yeah, every time there's another one I've got. It's another pan coming up, and it's just like it just looks like junk laying everywhere. It's whatever happened to Mars, man, was not good. Period. And hopefully we don't have the same thing happen here, right? Libby T, you said evening, friends. Hope everyone had a nice Christmas. We did. I hope you did too, Libby. Photography, Light and Magic. I sure did. I hope you and your family did as well. Len Judd says, Happy New Year, Chris. Well, Happy New Year. I hope everybody has a really good New Year. And, it's always cliche. We say, oh, Happy New Year and prosperous and everything. But you kind of mean it. You know what I mean? Because you want everybody to be, in good health. Everything works out for them. I know a lot of times, there was a couple of jobs I had way back in the day where, you work the job and all of a sudden January and February shows up, nosedives and crashes because the work slows down. So you either A, get laid off or B, you lose your job, period. And that's not a good thing. So yeah, so I'm hoping everybody, does well and hope it all works out for everyone. Oh, interesting, Robert. Robert Morgan says, hi, Chris. When I was looking at your last video with an eye loop, I counted 6 and 4 perfectly round ammunition. Wow. See, I didn't actually go over there. I usually try to go for the biggest things that are more obvious. Because I know a lot of you guys will say, oh my God, you missed this, man. I can't believe you did that. Well, the thing is, if you look at the biggest things, chances are most people will see them as well. Now, the good thing about it is I love the idea that you guys are using the magnifiers, your jeweler's eye loops, stuff like that to really scrutinize these things because now you're finding much more smaller objects that wasn't covered in the video. So I'm glad that you guys are doing that. That's what it's all about, getting together and just having a look at these things and seeing for yourself. Because, like I said, I've watched many videos and I just I believe what the person's saying, and sometimes not so much. So when I take the photo that they or link or whatever they supply, I go for it. I look at the thing and I analyze this thing and rip it apart and then come to your own conclusion. That's basically what it comes down to, right? And because seeing is believing for yourself. Renee's in there. Renee von Oosterhard. What's going on? George Mears in there. What's going on, George? Good to see you in there as well. Noodles. What's going on? Good to see you in there. You said hi, Chris. George, you said hi, Chris, and great to be back. Oh, yeah. TR3B, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. Oh, yeah, Robert Morgan, you're right about that. You said, Chris, I think it has happened on Earth in the past. Humans have been on Earth for 3.5 billion years. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they say, well, civilization went back to like 20,000 years, 30,000, and now we're up to like a half a mil at least more than that. It's just as far as civilized man, right? As far as I'm concerned, if they can make their own meals and stuff like that, to me, they're civilized within reason. So to me, it's like, we've been around much longer than we've ever been told. And so as far as I'm concerned, it's like, you know, um, it's been repeated. Whether we had a catastrophic event here on Earth, which we know we probably have, a lot of ancients say that, and even we actually speculated that we have. It's been like in the fifth cycle now, so not surprised. And and if that's true, then are we, you know, in for another one, another catastrophic event? And at some point, I think we can all agree on that. We probably will, because either asteroid, some kind of rock, somebody flying through space or whatever. Hopefully, we don't come to our own demise and kill each other off, so on and so forth. So, yeah, pretty crazy. He just jumped up on me. Mr. Wayne, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. Paul Courtney. Hi, everyone. Peace and love from Scotland. All righty. Yeah, Noodles, a lot of you guys have said that, which is awesome because you said, it says Mars, the gigapan of the bird on the cliff, which I did go back and look at, and you guys are right. It has that weird hook type thing at the very top of it, right? Remember I said it was like that, looked like that kind of teardrop looking object on this platform sticking out, and it actually had what looked like a small hook or beak type thing, or at least would resemble if it was in fact a bird, right? So yeah, I don't know. Pretty crazy. George Fay, what's going on? He said, I believe some type of cataclysmic event also happened on Venus. Well, I think they're finding this out. I mean, what would happen though, and this is pure speculation, that at some point, because again, we're a binary star system, right? We actually have a burned out sun. Basically, it's just a brown dwarf, I believe now. And when you look at this, you say, okay, if there was a sun on both ends, because this one's a lot further out and it's orbiting around and stuff like that. It's way out there. So, but what happens if we were getting heat on both ends in these planets? Is it possible there was life on every single planet? Because you got to remember, we're going to go back thousands of millions of years ago. At some point in time, the planets were different than they are now, just like Mars was different way back in the day as opposed to what it is today. So, is it possible that there was life on all of these planets? And at some point, instead of being like here on Earth, we have countries fighting each other. How do we know it wasn't planets? How do we know? I mean, again, pure speculation because clearly we can't go back and see. But how do we know that's not the case at all? If there was a lot more, like I said, civilizations on maybe every planet in our solar system, maybe there wasn't. Maybe it's from outside our solar system. I don't know. Yeah, guys, I've been hearing a lot about that myself. You guys are all talking about Tyler from Secure Team 10. You know, as far as his personal business, I don't. Yeah, because I know he's talked about a couple deaths in the family. That's not easy for anyone, and I don't expect it to be. It's if it is true, then my heart goes out to him and condolences and all that other good stuff. And I can't say much about that. Now, as far as his story coming back, I'm sure because I've read I read a whole bunch of the comments on there. They're like, yeah, yeah, show us the bruises you got and everything else. Supposedly he was beat up by the the guards in the prison he was in and all this other stuff. And, I'm not so sure about all that. I can't say yay or nay. I wasn't there. Right. But the story he gave about they're onto him and they're trying to stifle him and shut him up and everything else. If that's the case, then why isn't people like Bob Lazar dead? These guys are huge whistleblowers. Um, Ken Johnston Sr. Why isn't he dead yet? Another whistleblower. And it goes on. You got um, what is this? Paul Hellyer. Why isn't he dead? Why isn't the government bumped if these people to begin with? Keep in mind, we're just small fish here. We're just like YouTubers. You know what I mean? Now, although you can bring out some truth, I understand that. But I mean, to me, I don't think that they're going to play games with you. In other words, because the way he said it was something along the lines was, um, they asked me to cease and desist. I didn't. He said he doesn't plan to. And good for him, though. If I got a letter saying that, I'm going to be like, listen, truth is truth. Just bringing it out. Simple as that. And so then I guess because he didn't, then they pulled the stuff on him and all of this stuff about this, I don't know, domestic abuse and all this other crap. To me, the government's going to make you disappear. Somehow you're going to accidentally get your brake lines cut. Or they're going to plant some serious weed on you or something like that, or in your trunk somehow. They'll claim that they took it out of your trunk as like, X amount of kilos or blocks of cocaine or something. They're going to lock you up for 10, 20 years. They're not going to play this simple stuff. So I'm a little dubious about the idea, the story that he told. But as far as like his personal life, as far as his passing of folks in his family, that's his family business. Leave that stuff alone. I don't believe in that. Jumping on somebody and calling them out on that. If that's true, then it's true. If he's not telling the people the truth, well, then karma's going to bite him, right? That's the way I look at it. But I've got nothing bad to say about him. I mean, like I said, I'm just a little weird about the story that he gave, and I think there was one person who said, well, he does have to protect his financial income, so he's coming up with this weird story. Now, again, there's no way to tell whether that's true. But I mean, if the guy has gone through all of that, then hopefully he gets stronger and he comes back even stronger and rock and rolls. Again, if he is BSing, his subs just to get back into the money train, then it's going to bite him eventually. You know what I mean? I hate to see that happen to somebody, but as far as his personal life, I just leave people alone. It's none of my business. It has nothing to do with me. It's not my family. It's not my business. That's what it comes down to, right? So, yeah, I've been hearing a whole lot about that. You guys have been telling me about it. Plus, I've seen other, you know, videos people are putting out there all of a sudden because a couple of you guys gave me the links and stuff, and I've checked it out, and I've seen the actual official link in the Ohio supposed, him being locked up and stuff. But it can't be easy either way, right? Oh, this thing just jumped on me again. Hold on. Get back down where we're at. Eagle One's in the house. What's going on, Eagle One? G, GFM Nelson. Yeah, funny you just mentioned that. You said you watched Tyler from Secure Team. I actually watched some of his videos. I think he's got some interesting stuff. And that's the other reason why I think, when he says that, because I tell him cease and desist. If you really think about it, he does a lot of videos. He posts a lot of videos that people, submit to him. So why would he be they've been telling them to cease and desist. I mean, they're just, aerial phenomenon, right? So, and the fact that even the government's coming out with these now, why would they feel the need to try to stifle them? So that's what I'm saying. As far as that part's a little shaky, the rest of it, boom, just leave him alone. It's his personal business. And like I said, if he is going through these hard times, and I wish nothing but good for him. So, but again, like I said, on the other side of the token, if he is BSing the people, then it will bite him eventually. Paul Myris, you said, "Hey man, love your work. I appreciate you, Paul." It is appreciated, no doubt. Henry Strait, what's going on, man? He said, "Hey, Chris, back again from Combine, Texas. Sweet. Let me watch it. Good to see you there, man." He said, "Hi, Chris. Missed the last one due to work. Hope all is well." Well, man, you got to make that bump. They got to make that dollar bill, right? So no problems, man. Don't sweat it. Yeah, Mr. Wayne, you're right. I mean, you said, but if he's doing it for broadcast, just for money, that's BS. Well, like I said, that's why I said, a couple of these, you can see these people commenting back and forth. So I'm gonna be like super glad that he's back because here's the thing: the guy makes good videos. He does good commentary, good quality work, editing, whatever, whatever, whatever. And as far as that pod goes, I don't think anybody's got an argument with that. I think a lot of people are just having a problem with, I think a lot of people were mad because he just wasn't telling anybody where he's at. And it's long before, because I think he said something about being locked up for like a week or something like that. I don't know. But to me, it's just like, okay, but what about way prior to that? You know what I mean? So that's why I said, it's his own bag. I mean, he's got to do what he's got to do. But like I said, at some point, if he is BS and people are going to see right through him, and I don't think it's going to be pretty. Yeah, Noodles, that's what I heard too. That's why he said it in the video. He said he got beat down. Now, uh, he's getting a team of lawyers, which that's what he did say. Now, to me, it's like, all right, well, but I mean, again, like I said, some people are not so, uh, convinced. You know what I mean? Because they're like, yeah, 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 just another story. And if you think about it, you got to get grander and grander with the stories, and you know, like I said, there's no way to vet any of that, so I don't even bother. I just go, listen, as far as if he could just get back to his videos and does his thing, because like I said, I don't think anybody had a problem with any of his work per se. It's just that the idea is, um, that he hadn't told any of his subscribers, and a lot of them support him and stuff like that. And I think that's what they're more heated about than anything, right? Smoking Hot says, "Let's go out, let's go inside rather those temples and find out what has been going on in the history of Mars." That would be interesting if it's anything like we have here, where you got you know uh, the pyramids and stuff like that. There's stories and all kinds of things that's happened in the past there, and a lot of other ancient civilizations also have that, right? Sumerians and uh, you know Mayans and stuff like that. All interesting stories and stuff like that they had. Hassel sweaters, sweaters, hassle. Okay. What's your opinion on Brandenburg's findings of Mars being nuked from above? He does have the right credentials to make such a claim. Plasma asteroid. Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about that before here, and I think he's spot on. And and I believe it was actually NASA as well who's actually done that, where they've actually had. Um, they had the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, actually go into the lower atmosphere and basically do a sniff test, right, with the instruments, as well as the rover actually could sense some of that, the radiation, stuff like that. That's how they knew that there was two plumes there. One's larger than the other, but they had found that there's two plumes. Well, then he took Dr. Brandenburg took the information and studied it and said, what is going on here, man? Why are we seeing radiation in these, this fallout? What's going on? And a lot of the, like NASA will say, run with it, go with it, tell the public. So again, these are guys that are scientists, like you said, he's a plasma astrophysicist, and you know even NASA's saying, "Go with it, run with it." You know what I mean? So yeah, and I read a lot on what he was talking about. In fact, you can watch a lot of his videos online, and yeah, the guy's legit. Mr. Wayne says, "Hey, don't forget to hit that like button. Hammer time, guys." Libby T, I watched their channel at Pat Sequin, but some of it's iffy to me. And I think a lot of people, feel that sentiment, Libby. As far as like, to me, it's just like, if the least amount is that you take it as like an entertainment, right? Because like I said, he does have some interesting things on there, but you know, because if you think way back in the day, he was like, everybody called him out. He's fake this, he's fake that, da 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 da. So I don't know. Timothy Timothy Pendleton, you said, I don't know this situation, but come on, MIB don't set you up for spousal abuse. Well, that's what I'm saying. To me, it's just like, these guys don't play around. And here's my thing. Wouldn't it be easier for them to just say, listen, this is the government, call up YouTube, have the channel shut off? Wouldn't it be just that easy? I mean, just, for whatever reason, tell me he's demonetized or he can't have his channel anymore. Just cut the channel right off. Wouldn't it be a lot easier? I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, maybe it just, you don't know the tactics of some of these governments, man. Just what they'll do, right? Yeah, exactly, Corey. I feel the same way. Bush Corey put, I like Tyler, but I smell a few pork pies. My opinion. Can't say the guy doesn't work hard, though. Hats off for that, but don't sound right. I mean, like I said, I mean, as far as like just if you just take all that personal trash, throw it aside, and just for the actual channel, he does good work. I'm not going to argue with that. And I think it's pretty cool. A lot of the stuff. And to me, it's like even if you don't take it to, you know, take it to heart, and you're just like, well, it's entertainment. People enjoy his stuff. He doesn't have 2.1, almost 2 million subscribers for no reason, right? John, you said, are you affiliated to the Alien Hunter channel? No. Oh, I mean, well, I mean, we're friends as far as online, but I mean, yeah, he does good work. Does really good work. I jump on his live feed every now and then and say what's up, and um, he's had some static in the past, like I have from other channels. They like to stir it up, and I told him before. I said, because he's another hardworking guy. He's just putting a lot of these things together, these videos. And if you've seen him, John, you know what I'm talking about. He has like some of these things he's put together, are like hour and a half long, so on and so forth. So I think he's trying to do this like full time, which is great. I told him, I said, good luck in the new year with that, and rock and roll. I've sent people over to his channel. He's good. He does a lot of good work. You know what I mean? I'll support any channel that's like that. Bush Corey said, "Hey Chris, your thoughts on Elon Musk brain chip that can be controlled by app on phone?" Well, I know he's trying to do a lot of these neurological kind of implants and stuff like that, right? So to me, I think that's going to be the wave of the future. This crap here, this junk, it's gonna be it's gonna be like listening to an old, tube radio. You show a kid that, and they go, "What the hell is that piece of junk?" You know what I mean? It's like it's so outdated. It's so old. Well, this stuff here, even the phones are cute and all, but at some point they'll be obsolete. Their idea was to, put it, and they've already set up these. It's almost like a virtual reality glasses, right? And you can literally just, with your eyes, just go back and forth, and boop, doop, doop, doop. You can actually tap on it and open up a screen on there and get all your information right on the screen. What he wants to do is actually put it in your head, so you just download the information instantly. You think about it, gee, I wonder how that works. And it's almost like kind of like the Matrix. Remember the Matrix? They put it in the back and they just program it into your head. You just kind of, and next I can fly a helicopter. Well, I don't think it'd be quite that easy, but that's basically what they're going to do. They want to do like a just connection that way through your brain at some point. You won't even need any silly little phones and stuff like that. But at some point, that could be dangerous, because you know how Elon feels about AI as well, right? Can you imagine that? If they really wanted to control the population, well, you got a chip in your head, hooked to the internet. There you go. Tom Malisi, I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly, your last name. Is Curiosity rover still operating? Absolutely. Um, yep. It's running on, I think it's plutonium 139. I'm sorry, 239. And it is nuclear powered and charges the batteries. It's working fine. The Opportunity is the one recently took a dump where the story goes is that there was a huge dust storm on Mars. It basically, those, both the Opportunity as well as Spirit, the two sister rovers, were solar powered and they had a big dust storm. Well, that opportunity lost its opportunity. It's no longer functional. It got covered, and that was the end of that. It couldn't recharge the battery, so therefore, it's pretty much a dead stick. It's not working anymore. Robert Morgan, you're right about that. Grief can make you do some crazy stuff. Absolutely. Mimi reacts. What's going on, Mimi? And just like that, history. Thanks for the alert, guys. Let me see. Do. Brian Chesney said your channels are great. Cheers, Chris. Looking forward to the new year. Well, like I said, I am too. Try to gear it up here a little bit more here. Going to be changing out some equipment here and putting some newer stuff in and all that other good stuff. All right, let me do this. Let's see. Just some more trolls from the other channels, and we know exactly which one it is. It is, and I love it. I think it's great. Even if they're here to bash the channel, it's actually spending their time. They feel they're spending their time. Oh, we're going to disrupt the channel. What, for 2 seconds? Have at it. That's the way I look at it, right? Let's see. 357, Rob. You said 90 viewers, only 8 likes. Oh, no, we got more than that now. So I must have been a little bit further back, but I figured I'd go back a little bit here. Guys, slam that like button if you will. Bam. Indrid Cole, done. Can you bomb this a-hole? Yeah, the history. Hold on a minute, guys. This thing jumped up on me here. There we go. Well, that's right, Bushcar. Yeah, because basically, like we were talking about, putting a chip in your head, it says turning us into cyborgs. And now, as crazy as that may sound, it may not be in a strictest sense, but yeah, I mean, if it's literally this chip is tapped into your head and you're going through the internet and stuff like that, then who's to say they can just boom, just mass, execute something, and next thing you know, it's like bam. Robert Morgan, thank you for your support. You said, here's the replacement. Love your new channel. Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for the support. I love having this computer on because this is bizarre. When I first came on there, and it's nothing to do with anything anybody mess with the channel. It's actually when you first get on there, I'm seeing the screen because I'm talking to you guys, but on the right hand side I see the screen just like you guys do. However, during the live stream, you guys come on first. Me watching you actually comes on first, then I see it here. So that's why I like to run both computers. So like I said, I can see it a lot faster pop up over there because I'm still trying to read everybody's comments and stuff like that. And a lot of you guys are going back and forth with each other anyway. So that's why it takes me a bit of time to go through. I say, okay, he's talking to him or she's talking to him or whatever. So it takes a little bit of time to do that. Oh yeah. Yeah, we definitely would not do that. Chris Best said, I want your work to be popular because the photos are cool to look at, especially to me, the dead straight lines of some blocks. Yeah, I mean, again, some people argue, well, you know, nature can make straight lines, and absolutely it can. There's no doubt in my mind it can. That it definitely can. Here's the wild part: is that when you see multiple things in one area, 90-degree angles, and I mean not like in a row or like straight lines, like you see layered rock, right? That to me that's normal and it's natural. But when you start to see these weird things, like maybe there's like four of them in a row, or like these different shapes that you should not see together all in one spot, but they're totally different shapes. That to me makes you question what is going on here and why are we seeing such things and like what looks like a junk pile laying on the side of a mountain. And the other question, like I said, or my statement I made rather, was that is it actually a butte at all? Was it something that's on top of the butte and had fallen off? I don't know. It's weird, but um, to me, it's just like there's too many things that have intelligently made shapes to be anything natural. And I'm not saying again, because what was that name of that? Oh, I think it's in the UK somewhere where it has all those where it looks like hexagon blocks and they're stone um, like columns. And those, supposedly all natural. And I would not argue with that. But like I said, when you have different shapes, let's say you have like three or four different shapes in a row. Let's say it's triangle, rectangle, square, round, circle, whatever. Um, would you think that is natural seeing those kind of things, even if they're jumbled about, right? Would those still be considered natural? I don't think so. It'd be one thing if it was like all like just lines or squares. Maybe that's the way the rock is coming off, and it's eroded that way through wind processes and stuff like that. Very possible, very good possibility. Now, as far as like all the different shapes in one area scattered about, no, I don't believe so. Renee Van Oosterhout says, Chris, if I could hand out a golden Oscar, that's for you, number one on the YouTube. I appreciate that. Hyper Fishy, I appreciate your support. Thank you. He said, hi, keep up the hard work. Well, I want to try. We'll definitely be rocking at 2020, no doubt. Thank you, Alien Tenno. Yeah, I didn't even see you jump in there. Giant causeway in Ireland. That's what it was. And that it has like these columns, and they almost look like they're like an octagon, aren't they? On the very top. And they're all together, like just stuffed together all the way through there. So I find them pretty interesting. And, yeah, nature can do some crazy stuff. But now if you now let me just backtrack. When you see these things, they're all like pretty much almost basically the same shape. But now put different shapes and what looks like at randomness and like just like they're cocked and falling over upside down and all kinds of crazy stuff. Is that natural? I don't believe that it is. Yeah, that could very well be, Corey. You said, is this chip going to be used for medical reasons? I heard could cure Parkinson's and stuff, but what's stopping them from programming an alarm that triggers and turns you into an assassin without knowing? Yeah, and that's exactly right. Because once they're tapped into your brain, can't they just pretty much do anything? I don't know. Now, Stevening, you said Mars will have fossils. I guarantee it. And I've said the same thing. I predicted that. I also predicted that they're going to start finding small plant life. They're going to say, what is this stuff right here? It looks kind of like a moss we'd find here on Earth and stuff like that. They'll overturn a rock or between the rocks or whatever it may be. Ooh, look what we found. And it only seems to be seasonal or whatever it may be. And they're going to find some kind of life. It ain't going to be, it'll probably start off real quick like microbial. And it's not fossilized. It's actually real because basically we have, um, we've got water. We've also have brine, which is super salty water, right? Um, Life can live in both. So at some point, they're definitely going to find it. Kenneth Lair, what's going on? Thank you for your support as usual. Chris, your hard work is very much appreciated. Well, I appreciate every one of you guys and appreciate the support, both the moral support and the actual monetary. I do appreciate it. Photography like magic. I'm sorry. The rock that's sitting on the shelf in that video is in another solid. Yep, it is. You see it from around the corner. Well, exactly right. You can actually see it. It's on the other side of this so-called butte, and you'll see it on the right-hand side. Whereas the other way, it's the way we're seeing it now, it's up on the left. I mean, I'm sorry, the upper right, where the other way it's on the upper left. So it goes through that little area. Supposedly, goes through that little area and around the corner to that. Indrid Cole, appreciate your support as well. Thank you. You're saying I like that little character. It's pretty cute. I appreciate you. Mike Hoover, you said the scientist Richard Hoover found microbes rather, life in, he told the work. I don't know if he just didn't finish the actual, sometimes you can only put so many characters or whatever, but listen, guys, there was a big argument way back in the day, back in 1975 and 1976, when the Viking lander actually dug up the soil, analyzed it. They knew there was microbial life then, you know? So when you see that, let's say they found life, okay? And it's absolutely, you know, no doubt about it. Okay. So they're going to say, okay, if that life's there, what else is there? Now, they, of course, I had cameras on the Viking lander. So you can imagine what they saw for the first time when this thing came online and see what they saw. Now, keep in mind, they probably already seen this stuff from the orbital Viking missions, the flybys, and they had other spacecraft go by Mars and stuff like that. And then when they landed on there, they probably already seen, first of all, they already seen these things from, either a satellite view or whatever, or high up in the atmosphere. And then now that they're on the ground looking at these things, they must see an abundance of stuff. There must have been life there. They knew this long ago. It doesn't even have to be intelligent life, right? It could be just strictly plants, things flying, things crawling. How do we know? Again, speculation, but to me, they would have seen this back in 1975, 76. And this is the reason why it's hardcore now. They're on this and they're not stopping and they're not going to. They're going to get what they can off this planet. And this is the reason why you're starting to see more and more countries going. Like I said, Russia went there, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. Never heard a word about it after that. India, how much India do you see or hear about India's mom satellite? How much do you hear about it? There was a big hoopla when it first went there, and they got, I don't know, 10, 15 pictures off Mars. That was it. Psst, done. Wait a minute. Even their own people are going, where are these photos you promised? These high definition photos, never heard another thing about it. So even their own people are just not happy with them. They're just like, this is bull, you know? Yep, Alien Tenno, Mars has forest on it. Yep, JP Skipper found that a long time ago. Lakes as well, it looked like trees around there. Absolutely. Dreamers are us. You have mine too, brother. Ooh. I don't know where Joss is today. Haven't seen him. Thanks for the holiday videos and hangout. Well, I appreciate that, William Johnson. This evening, you said resources, oil, you name it on Mars. Well, I mean, to me, I think the biggest resource they're finding right now is that it's basically technology. And whatever's just laying around in there, I think that's what they're finding. I think they're just looking at this stuff, and now they got the new rover going up. I think it's going to be in 2021. Um, I think I'm trying to remember. It's supposed to launch this next year, and then 2021 it'll be on the surface, meaning operating and everything else. Um, and to me, it's just like it's going to have a helicopter on it, and they're gonna take the soil samples and put it in little tubes. And again, I don't understand the logic and all that either, because here's a it has an analyzer, a spectrometer on it. It's going to analyze the soil just like the rover now is doing, and it's going to take them, analyze it, the soil. It's going to drop it in little tubes. It's going to go into the underbelly of the rover, and then something about putting them on the Martian surface. It's going to dump them on the. So when the people, meaning astronauts, go there, they can actually take them apart and analyze them. What's the point? To me, it's just like, okay, they're going to be in a tube laying on the surface of Mars. The radiation ain't going to just like disturb that sample. I don't know. I find that really weird. And I don't think that's true. And I don't know why they would even say that. Because what's the point of putting these samples in the belly of this thing when it makes no sense? The way, and the other thing is too, the helicopter is quite large. It's not this like little puny little thing, right? It's pretty large. It's going to have cameras, stuff like that. It's got a flight time, I think, of like 7 minutes, and just enough time to go up in certain levels where the rover can't go up and over objects, and check out these things, go back and forth, and then come back out. And it's supposed to go into either the side or the belly of this thing. To me, it would make more sense to land on the deck, but and then recharge itself, and then off it goes. Right? Um, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work as far as I'm sure they're still working in the technical parts of it, but they pretty much got it ready to rock. So that'll be interesting. Oh, let me see. The Rubicon, you said no conspiracy, but I saw what looked like a trilobite on Coast to Coast years ago, photographed on Mars. Yeah, absolutely, and that was another big argument. You know, they claimed that's what it looked like, a fossilized trilobite, right? And the funny thing about it is, I think NASA caught some static about that, because there was another. It might have been that same what looked like a fossil in the stone, and they took the rat tool and literally ground it off the rock. They're like, what the hell are you doing? And if you're not familiar with the rat tool, it's a rock abrasion tool, and literally just ground it right off. I'm like, what the hell? Why would you do that? Well, hard to tell. But yeah, there's absolutely life on that planet. There's no doubt. And like I said, if something happened, catastrophic happened right now, life would still live on this planet. You can bet on it. Some way, somehow, life finds a way. MC Gamer, you're correct. He said, and the Chinese on the far side of the moon, nothing. Absolutely. Quantum Discovery Network. Hey, how are you? You said, hi, Mr. Chris. Hope you had a good Christmas. I did, and I hope you did as well. Suzanne Ann, didn't even see you creep in there. Trying to make sure I get everybody. But like I said, I'm reading down the line. All of a sudden, it'll say sometimes these statements or comments are being held for review, and there's nothing really bad about them. So I'll click on it and I'll bring it up. And as soon as I hit that, it goes right to the top. All of these comments jump up, and I'm at the bottom. So anybody who said anything, I'm trying to go backwards, and that's why it takes me some time at times. But I'm trying to make sure I get everybody right. Underground water. Well, I'm sorry, underwater, most likely. Yeah. Well, they've already found that. Like I said, they found that. I believe it was in the South Pole. I could be wrong. I believe it was in the South Pole area, though. And according to them, the satellite had used radar imaging. And what they found was, they said, if it's not at least a foot thick, it will not register it. Well, it was over that. So they can register. There was a lake of water. It was like a mile wide, but only X amount of feet, in depth. So I don't know if it's a small canyon. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's like and like an opening in the ground. I don't know what it is, to be truthful with. The way they made it sound was like, I don't know if it's cavernous or whatever, but and then there's like a lake in there, or if it was just enough water and maybe just a little space above it, and that was it. But either way, they found this thing. It was like a mile wide, and it was, just enough for that satellite to pick it up. And that was in the South Pole. And it's underwater. It's underground. So I was gonna say it's underwater, right? It's underground. So there's plenty of water there. And it's not just salt water either. Shammy doodar. Let me see here. Oh, no, 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 no. Smoking hot. You said, Chris, you chat with Richard Hoagland. No, but I've been on his the other side of midnight. I've been on there a few times. Both me, uh, Thomas Jensen, he's been on there with him, and as well as Will from What's Up in the Sky. He's been there as well. We've been on the show, submitted our photos and stuff like that, and we were on there for like a few days straight. Really interesting show. Good to watch or listen to, because you can basically listen to it. Pretty good stuff. Chris Best, you put on there, is it possible that once our machinery, et cetera, has landed, our microbes are hitchhiking to Mars? Yeah, I mean, it's a very good possibility. They do their best to keep these satellites, rovers, and whatever in these clean rooms, right? So keep anything from like microbial life or anything like clinging to it and then bringing it to Mars. Somehow, I don't think that's going to be the case. They're going to keep that completely without happening. And how do we know that they didn't actually purposely put these up there to see how life would work? Just like one of the countries already done, I think it was China that did it on the moon. There's a bunch of these little, they look like little tiny weird pigs or something like that. They're microscopic. They put them on, literally crashed um, they're like extremophiles, but they literally crashed it onto the moon. And of course, this thing exploded, but they know those things can literally live there. So that now you got these living organisms on the moon. So yeah, but what they had them on, I think they were like in these little, what do they call them? They had plants there as well. I think they put, um, I'm trying to remember if it was, they had small plants, and they had like five of these things, and I think all five of them died except for one. And then, of course, the heat finally killed them off because it was probably sunny, and of course, there's no way to filter any of that sun or radiation. It killed it, but it lived. And then they got these other little, you know, little microscopic little animals on there now too. So, is it possible they did that purposely back then? How do we know? Timothy Pendleton, you said all humans are so interested in space because that is where we once came from. I think that's programmed in our DNA, to be truthful with you. Lewis, you said, do you reckon NASA or someone actively sabotages other countries' spacecraft? Is it a possibility? Absolutely. Not that I know if that's been really happening. I think a lot of these, like I said, I think there's I've said this before. I believe there's like we have the United, we'll probably have like a United Federation of space programs, right? And they're all together as far as that part goes. And then is the regular branches. In other words, they're all independent through their own countries, and like ESA or ESA, depending on how you want to pronounce it, the European Space Agency. So I think what they do is they have their own, like we have NASA. Everybody's got their own, so on and so forth, right? But I think what happens is they also have an elite branch to that, where there's top brains working on all together, and they're working in tandem, or at least all together as a unit, and they're sending spacecrafts to different planets and moons and stuff like that, because not one country can do it all. So they're literally going together, and they're just kind of doing their own thing or helping each other out, as I'm hoping in a good cause, in a good way, to advance us as opposed to set us back. And it's not all about you know me first. I got it all. I got all the technology, whatever, whatever. So I don't know. Paul Cargo, you said, what happened to the Chinese U-2 2 sat images? That's a good question. How much do you see of it anymore? Nothing. Um, I know that when they had their problem with the last craft, it crashed. and that was it. At least according to them, they said it was. I forget what it was. It wasn't very far from the ground, and somehow it just came down on a hard landing. And at least that's what they claim. Now they could be telling the truth. No way to know. Um, but they claim that it came to a hard crash and it's no longer functional. You know me, guys. You know anybody can say that because you and I can't go up there and check. Oh, they're lying, or they're telling the truth. None. We can't do that. So we have to assume that they're telling the truth. Now, are they? Or they could just say, if we just tell them it crashed, we don't have to tell them about this scientific research we're doing out there. It's the easiest way to do it. Well, we tried like hell, but it crashed and burned and exploded and every other darn thing. And basically, it's just a steaming pile of steel. Quantum Discovery Network, it says cities on Mars ready to rebuild. And I know, I think that's a good possibility. I said that before. I think that a lot of these structures are not ruined. Kind of like if you had like a war here on Earth or a devastating storm, right? A lot of the buildings be wiped, and then there's always those other buildings that are still standing, and maybe, perhaps, still you can use them. Now, a lot of them would have to be condemned because they wouldn't be worth 3 cents, but they'll either be burned out or because of storm or rocked its foundation or whatever. But you can bet anything that is available, they're going to use it. You can bet on it. And of course, they'll send their own structures that are supposed to be, I think, 3D built before the astronauts get to Mars. And I think that's what they're going to do. Nothing sus. Morning, peoples. Morning. What's going on? MG Toe, you said minerals. Absolutely. It could be everything from technology to the simplest things, like you guys said. It could be, how do we know there's not like a bunch of diamonds laying all over the place or some kind of, minerals or something we don't have here, or like it'd be worth millions here or billions of dollars here. How do we know? Pete Ferrero, you put on the even if the bacteria is from Earth, the point is it's surviving. Well, that's true. Well, I don't know if you remember, but what was it? A few years back, guys, they actually had microbial life growing on the ISS, the International Space Station. So if it can do it out in space, basically void, even though it's still in the inner atmosphere, so I guess it could survive that way. That, but still, I mean, it still goes to show you it's a lot thinner air, the whole nine yards. It's literally on the outside of this, uh, the ISS. So I think it could very well, it can live. And here's the other thing too. I mean, keep in mind if it's inside the actual craft and not on the outside, how do we know? It could still live that way, right? Andrew Haberman, you said, I think oxygen levels on Mars are much higher and near the poles due to the forestation there. Well, I think there's a lot more of that in Gale Crater because they claim that in Gale Crater because it's basically a bowl, right? It's a crater, but it has Mount Sharp right there in the middle of it. Now, it's according to them, there's a lot more oxygen. It settles on the ground. It's not being wiped away. And of course, they're going to find they used to there was ocean there, body water. That's why they're there because they knew that there was water there at some point, and they want to they want to really dig. So that's why I thought it was funny though when they said that because they were like, yeah, we're there to look at the soil samples, rock samples, drill into those, and you can see a lot of photos actually showing that. Right. What I find amusing is that you always see like these buttes and stuff we're looking at. Well, wait a minute, why are you interested in that? It's just rocks and garbage. I mean, meaning just soil and just buttes with just rocks coming off of it, and I call it like a skirting because all this rock falls and actually does this at the very bottom. It's like a skirt at the bottom, right? It like flares out because of all the debris falling off of it. Well, okay, and I'd be okay with that. Problem with it is like, why do they feel the need to keep looking at that stuff? And why are we finding stuff that doesn't look all natural? And so in the amount of manipulation they're doing on these photos shows me that they're there for much more than just seeing, well, let's just see if there's any, past life on Mars, any building blocks of life. And come on, they're long past that. They've been past that since the 70s. The Stevening, he said it's much too cold to walk around on Mars without a suit. Not entirely true. They in the summertime, like we have here, because it has seasons just like here on Earth, it can get up to 70, 80 degrees with no problem on Mars. That's what they don't tell you. And yet there is a big write up on there. You can actually just Google it, say how warm does it get on Mars, and There was one article, and I can't find it anymore, but they said the Curiosity rover registered 104 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. And it's very possible if, we see how we get warm here, right? Now, I want you to take away at least almost all the atmosphere, which basically shelters radiation, heat, and everything else from the sun. How much hotter do you think it would be here? Remember when they had the hole in the ozone? They said it was getting bigger and bigger, and parts of the areas were getting super hot and everything else. Absolutely. People go, well, the sun's further away from Mars. Yeah, but it's also being not shielded like we are here on Earth. So is it getting the same amount of heat that Earth would get? Yes, it's farther away, but it's also not being shielded like we are. So I think it's getting the same amount, but it's average. It can get up to 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You can walk around with no problem. Now at night, it does get quite cold. It's like anywhere between, I forget what it was. It's like 150, 100, 100 according to them, 150, 180 degrees Fahrenheit below zero, right? I'm not sure of all that, but it's very possible because it's like the wintertime here, right? If it's cloudy in the wintertime, you got what they call, it's like a blanket. The clouds are like a blanket, and you get, a lot slower radiational cooling, so your nights don't get as cold. Well, isn't it the same way? Wouldn't it apply on Mars? There's nothing to hold the heat in. So therefore, you get this radiation just going back out, the heat just going back out into space. So it cools quite quickly. So it's a very good possibility that it does get that cold. I don't know about that cold because I know around the poles, it gets quite cold. So I'm not sure about down near the equatorial region, right? I don't know. Yep, 357 Robbie, you said extremophiles. Absolutely. MG Toe, you said we now have a space force with the first space base at Vandenberg Air Force Space Base. Yeah, I mean, again, remember I told you guys about that soldier. I don't remember what his rank was, but he's talking about how he come on and said, "Well, the Chinese are wanting to build, spacecraft like we'd see here, like a warship here in the ocean. Of course, I think it'd be that shape, but you know what I'm saying. But everything they want to build something similar to that, only for space, and they're already ahead of us on that." And he said, we need to move our rear ends in order to be able to do the same. We want to be able to match them. Nobody says you're ever going to use it, but the thing is you want to be ready. You want to have equal amount of power to protect yourself. Now, you know, I don't see the logic in it, but they do apparently. Whatever. I don't know why, or either how they're getting away with it because they had uh, that space treaty saying that there shouldn't be any weaponizing going on in space. So I don't know how true that is, but we'll find out eventually. That stuff it's gonna come out more and more, right? Because it's gonna leak out some way, and you're gonna find out a lot more about it, or it's gonna be our own government saying, yeah, this is what we get out in space now. Of course, they're not gonna show exactly what it is because then the other countries will be privy to it. But to me, every country's gonna see it anyway. Because if you got your own satellite out in space, and let's say it's capable of shooting lasers or whatever the hell it may be, and you're looking at another country's satellite, I mean, they can literally take snapshots of yours and just show the world, right? So it can't stay a secret for too long. At some point, it's got to come out. Remote view, you said, do you believe in data from the rover? Do you believe in Chris? Say, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I've got that other thing I want to do. It's going to be, I don't know about lengthy, but it's going to be definitely informative. Anybody who's into the technical parts of the actual rover. And like I said, it's basically proving what I've been saying all along. We have an original photo, and then of course we have an overlay, and they call it Z stacking. If you're not Slee stacks, guys, not Land of Lost, Z stacking, the basically the rover will take multiple pictures of that. Let's say an outcropping, and it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the difference, the reason why they say this is this: they say, well, we take the 5 photos. It doesn't matter; it could be 3 up to 8 photos, right? Depending on how big the picture is. The reasoning for it is this: the background might be out of focus. Well, what they do is they take the rock outcropping that focused in, take a picture. Might take a couple of those. Now the back, they'll zoom into that. Now, of course, the foreground will be blurred. They don't care. They'll take the background and they'll go ahead and clear that up, focus it, boom, take a few snaps of that. Then they combine the two so everything is in focus. That's their reasoning for it. My thing is, and I've always said this, I said no. The way it looks is that they're having the original photo and then they're stacking a photo or information over it that's nonsense, basically. It's a filter of garbage to stop with from you seeing the details, basically, right? And this document that I've been reading actually states that, as well as some extra equipment. I've said this on my last live feed, some extra equipment on there that these one guy that's working for NASA had no idea it was there. And this is how it got him to stop breaking this thing down. And they found out about what are they doing with these photos? What's going on? And they're being sent to the Deep Space Network and only to 3 basic computers. What it does is it's supposed to come down. The information is supposed to be received, put onto hard drives, and then, of course, they take a look at it. And then after that, either they keep it on there or they get rid of it. Well, it was almost immediate that they were getting the photos. It was going to these 3 computers, and it wasn't long after that they off, completely erased off the hard drive. So they're trying to understand what was going on. And yeah, so that may be coming up soon, but it basically confirms what I've been saying. And as well as the, because I told you guys what it was the rover had an extra transmitter on it. And I've always said it had 2 transmitters on there. So I'm actually still reading on this particular thing because I want to see if they're saying the same thing I've been saying for a while, that one of them actually transmits straight to Earth, which I've said a long time ago, and the other one is an omnidirectional, and it sends the information up to these orbiters. And then, of course, once the data is actually transmitted to the orbiter, the satellite comes around, here's Earth, gets closest, boom, and it shoots the information back to the Deep Space Network receiving radio telescope. So, but they can get information directly from the rover. They don't even need to send it there. And that's where this extra transmit is coming in, and it's going to certain computers in this network. And they found this out, and then they found out what is going on with the photos. They're literally messing with the photos. They're putting an overlay over these photos. And I've been saying that. I can tell because I've been taking these photos apart long enough to know that there's a layer over these, and it's the same thing they were doing with the moon photos, only more high tech, only more high tech as opposed to simple airbrush. Or maybe they used to take an acetate, put over the original photo, drop it on there, and then they can use marker, they can airbrush over it and stuff like that. Then take another photo, so this all blends in. And that's what they were doing back in the day. Now it's much more technical, and it's all computerized, CGI, and all this other good stuff. Well, funny thing about it is, Mimi, you said, I guess ESA has not enough funds to send anything to the moon. Well, the funny thing is, though, they still sent it to Mars. That's the funny part. And if you look the stuff up, just put, space missions to Mars, and yeah, they're already there. They've been there for years now. Oh, what were you guys? Peter Ferrero, you put on there 24.9 hours is the body clock for those on space station, same on Mars. Well, they actually said, like I said, again, last stream, I said that they found out our body is actually, our clock is more in rhythm with what Mars hours and time of day than it is here on Earth. And let's say Mars way back in the day had not the same gravity to begin with, then we would have been taller, would have had less problems with our bones and our skeletal structure, would have been better off. Everything would, we probably would have lived a whole lot longer there. Who knows? But they do say our body clock is actually more in tune with Mars than it is here on Earth. Alien Tenno, you said problem with Mars after a nuke war would be an EMP charge. It would fry everything, take eons to dissipate. Well, it's kind of like the same thing that happened at Chernobyl, right? Right now, I mean, when did that happen? So now, but they're saying now you can literally go there, and have no problem. You wouldn't, be exposed to high radiation because it definitely dissipates. And life is actually coming back to that area, both organics as well as living animals. And the genetically modified or damaged, I should say, animals that were there are now being phased out because now healthy animals are coming to the area, and of course they're mating, and now all of that birth defects are now being phased out. So now life is coming back normal. Um, to Chernobyl and stuff like that. Now they don't. They say it's not a good idea to go to sleep there and live there, but they're saying you can walk through there with no problem and not be killed off from the radiation, right? Indrid, cold. I have to leave now. Have a good time, everyone. Wishing you all a peaceful, safe, and fulfilling new year when it comes. I appreciate your support, Indrid, and thanks for being here tonight. You and your family have yourself a good new year and a prosperous one as well, right? Find it, restore it. What's going on? Good to have you in here, man. Let's see. Go back here. It would be horrible if Lewis said this. It would be horrible if we finally get into space and just find out more humans, just with more advanced technology. Wouldn't you just feel defeated? No, not in the least bit. I would feel there's something to learn from these people. Absolutely. And, and basically, you would have nothing to offer them, though, other than like a bartering thing going on. Like, you need resources from us. Well, maybe we can help you out, so on and so forth. And if you're not a warring planet, we're too late for that. And hopefully that stops at some point. And I think if they actually were, they did find actual other humanoids or aliens that were similar to us, and they actually sat down and said, by the way, we were just like you Earthlings. We're so past that. We're so over it. Um, this thing. Elaine Walls, thank you for your support. Much appreciated. Number one fan. Sweet. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Like I said, I don't think I'd be like, I think it would be kind of scary in a sense because these people are much more advanced as far as technologically, but as far as I'm concerned, I mean, we have much to learn from them, right? If that was the case, and we actually, of course, that may have already happened because of from what I heard, a lot of the governments higher up, the elites, have been talking to these people for quite some time. Don't know, can't vet it, of course, but and it's pure speculation as far as I'm concerned. I can hear about it all day. Doesn't mean it's real, right? But I believe a lot of these people in the know, these government officials, a lot of them know about it. Lance and Mr. Blanco, you said the rat pick was pretty cool. Cool. What do you think of it, Chris? Are you talking about that one that looked like a little? I don't know what the hell that thing was. Um, it had it like in the rocks. It was sitting in the rocks. I don't know. I'm up in the air about that. To be truthful with you, I think it's more of a rock layout than it was an animal. I think that's what that was all this time, and it kind of had that weird feature. It looked like it was kind of like had its head down to the ground. Um, I think that's the one you were talking about. Oh, Mike Hoover, you can bet on it. You said the Vatican knows damn well what happened to Mars. Well, even if they don't know exactly what happened when it happened, to me, they have an idea because if they can see that planet up close, they can see features of. It's one thing to see like craters and stuff like that, but when you see stuff that looks like exploded areas, oh yeah, you can pretty much tell. Ed Felty, you're right about that. You said, however, Mars does have some really big storms for a low atmosphere planet. Yeah, and it has. I think my voice is starting to go out. It does have cirrus clouds. It has a water cycle on Mars. It has a whole bunch of stuff, just like we have here on Earth. Maybe not on a large scale, but we still have it, right? Oh, yeah. 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 Lee Palfrey said, that's right. They said that there was a large explosion on Mars back in 1944 or thereabouts. It was 1941, and there was actually two. And like I said, one was in the Cydonia region where they had the face of Mars, and they had one east of that, just slightly south and east of that area. And like I said, guys, funny enough, and I said this before, guess where the rovers and landers are? Just south of both of those areas. So, what is it that they're really looking at? Simply rocks? Could very well be still. They're probably trying to find more ways for the astronauts to be able to live off the land on Mars, and I believe that wholeheartedly, and um, I wouldn't say no to it. I believe that's what they're doing, but that's not why their main reason's there. It's just no way. Now, and that's going by with the stuff we're seeing in the photos, right? And the things we've seen on the moon photos. So based on that alone. And this is the reason why, I started doing a lot of the moon stuff because if it's happened on the moon, we have astronauts talking about how they look like there's crafts on these outer, like right on the tops of these craters. They were there watching them, and you have, um, what look like structures, what the astronauts were taking photos of. And if it's not ours, then they know right off the bat. Wait a minute. So if there's stuff on the moon, clearly there must be other things on these planets. Let's go looking. And that's why we are where we are today. Simple as that. Holger Eckert, like and shared 2 times as always. Well, I appreciate you. 357 Robbie. Yeah. Damn, I hate spell check. Yeah, it can be a nuisance sometime. Yeah, if you have Ed, if you put on there, you're saying something about anyone know a viewer program able to view the Clementine satellite images. I've got some TIFF images. Yeah, if you have Photoshop, and they have free versions of that, just get that free version of Photoshop and just download it into it. Just bring it right into it, and it'll read it. It'll read a TIFF. Ted Papernak, what's going on? Happy New Year to everyone. 2020, right back at you, man. Hope everybody does well in the new year. Well, that's true, Alien Ten. You said just because you're more advanced, advanced tech wise, doesn't mean you're more advanced as an empathic rather. I'm sorry, species. Well, that's true. I mean, it could work that way. I mean, me personally, I think. Let's suppose we go to another planet in our solar system, and it happens to be people there, or you know, indigenous people. We'll use the term, and we happen to be more high tech than them. Okay, so my thing is this: now let's use the term now well, let's look at it this way. How about if one of them comes from way the hell away from our solar system, you know, X amount of thousands of light years away and comes here? You can almost bet if they've achieved that and they can move from planet to planet to planet, meaning instead of being in your own neighborhood when you walk outside your door, the galaxy is your neighborhood, and it wouldn't even. So now these guys, well, you can almost bet that they would probably be well and above all the warring, the monetary stuff, all that junk that goes on. You could bet they're long past that, and at least you'd want to think that because if it's just like us, you see how we are when we're trying to be spacefaring and everything else, and you can see what goes on our planet. But suppose you're so advanced, you're like a you know level two civilization at that point. I mean, you can almost bet they're past all that, and they look at our planet and go, "Jesus, these people got a long freaking way to go. We don't want nothing to do with them people." We may talk to their higher ups, but that's where we stop, and they're trying to guide the planet or whatever. I don't know. William Johnson, you said, I watch your older videos about Mount Sharp. I'm convinced about Mars just from that. Great stuff. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I really dissected the hell out of that because it goes way back. Didn't have the best computer and everything else, so the quality of the videos were kind of lame as far as I'm concerned. Um, but I went through that. I put Mount Sharp is not what you think it is. I think one of them was named. Went through a bunch of that. That mountain is not a mountain. It's something. I think it's like a template. I said that they take and they just drop right on top of whatever they don't want you to see. So let's suppose you had like a picture of any large city here in the world, and you could take like a mountain and just template right over it, and then just stick it there. You would be none the wiser. You wouldn't even know what the hell it is. I don't believe that it's actually a mountain at all. I believe there is a Mount Shop there, absolutely. But what they're showing in the photos is like it's always in the photo, and it's like no matter how you look at it, it's always in the photo, and well, at least 80% of the time, right? And I think it's just like I said, it's a template. Anytime they want to block something huge out, they don't have to go, oh man, let's just do individually, try to block it out, this, that, and the other. Just drop this thing right on top. All the little things, that's all you get to see is little stuff, which is like, it's almost, you guys have used this term, divide and conquer kind of thing where they'll have you, arguing with yourself. It's all natural. No, it's not. It's this. No, it's not. It's that. So yeah. This thing just jumped. Here we go. Jonathan Lee, you said manned Mars missions are costly and dangerous. With the advancing technology in drones and solar energy, mapping entire Mars and Moon would take less than 1 year. And most important, no human danger. Well, they have mapped the whole planet. They've done that several times, so that's not an issue. And the more satellites they put around there, they will have their own GPS. And, but because these things don't wander around in a large area, they really don't need it. They don't, the rover knows where it's at and in perspective, whether longitudinal or latitudinal or whatever, but it knows where it's at. It can do autonomous drive, right? But, it's kind of like you made a great point. You said entire moon and Mars takes less than a year, and most important, no human danger. When we send people to the moon, the astronauts, right? We sent them there, and of course we took a huge chance. But the Soviet Union at the time sent their Lunokhod rover. So they're saying to themselves, listen, we can't get people up there, but by God, we can send a rover up there. And funny enough, if you look up the Lunokhod rover, it's built just like we have a rover right now, the Curiosity rover. Only a lot more crude compared to what this rover is today. But that thing traversed quite a bit on the moon. And when you see this thing, they probably said, you know what, this is what we need to build. Just build cameras on there, build this best we can put up there, this, that, and the other, get it up there. And that's what they did. So there was no human, error, and they didn't have to worry about somebody being killed off or anything else. So they couldn't get a man there. They'd send the next best thing, a rover. So yeah, you're right about that. Bobby Pentland, I like that. Sorry, I had to step away from Honeydew. She was like, "Are you on Mars again?" And I'm like, "No." Good one. Marcus Peters, you said, do you think NASA will ever reveal the truth in our lifetime? Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping in my lifetime, right? And I think it's coming out anyway. It's like a slow drip disclosure. There's a lot of whistleblowers out there that are blowing the whistle on this stuff. I believe there's, you know, it's just coming out. There's a lot of researchers, even you guys yourselves, you're looking at these photos and pulling this stuff apart. I can't wait until the 2020 rover. A lot better cameras are claiming, there'll be bigger photos, so on and so forth. That's what I want to see more than anything. And I'm wondering if we're going to get any photos from this helicopter. That would be interesting to see. Because basically it's what it's going to do is it's going to fly. It's going to relay the message back to the rover. It's going to get the data there. And I don't know if it's going to process it, but then it's going to send it up to the rover. To the orbiters, and then, or straight to Earth. And, I'd be curious. That's one of them. Definitely, this evening. Yeah, religion has been the number one factor limiting science and technology. Yeah, but if you know what that has, and I agree with you. We would have been so much further as far as I'm concerned, and it's still a limitation. It's still kind of limiting what we can do. It's kind of like we're afraid because is people going to stop believing in religion? Are they going to stop? Is it going to be like pure pandemonium? Is it going to be so on and so forth? I don't think that's the case at all. Again, people will be intrigued, and some people may be a little nervous, right? But I think that they'll accept it. They'll accept the fact. I mean, if everybody starts, telling the truth and slowly leaking out and just like not like, by the way, we found some structures on there and they look evil and ominous and and then people are gonna go, oh Christ. So I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think what they're trying to do is like soft disclosure where people can accept it slowly and that, people won't freak out about it. I think they're just trying to be real gentle about how they bring this stuff forward, but I hope they do it soon. I mean, just once they start with something small, they know they can kind of snowball a little bit faster. They can get a little bit more and more out, without freaking people out, right? HTOS 1AV. Any aliens would see us as infants in a galactic community. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, like our species is just learning how to walk. It's crawling. It's crawled, learning how to walk. We now got out of our playpen or out of our bedroom, looked around, and started to see a whole new view of everything, right? And that's what we're doing in our solar system. We're finding out new things all the time, which that's what I love about science, right? They're finding new things all the time. They'll claim one thing. Wait a minute. What we thought we knew, we don't. Because now they got new instruments. They're finding out new stuff, looking more and more out in the galaxy, out in the universe. They're finding more and more stuff. And it's just they're learning. The more so you have to build the tools to actually see the stuff better or research it better or whatever it is that you need to do. So I'm happy about that. Um, but like you said, aliens will look at us and go, "Oh my God, listen, we'll talk to you people that got half a brain in here, but you guys need to grow up big time." And that's what I think. That's the way they would view us, right? Beach Vlogs, thank you very much for your support as always. Hope you had a good Christmas. Frank Brutrode, I am convinced that when all extraterrestrials, I'm sorry, become known by all humanity will enter an era of lasting peace. I think so too, because I said this before. I think once we learn that we're not on our own, think about it. We love the idea of, this is the reason why we have like this going to church, right? It's like this mass euphoria. You just feel good. It's a good feel good feeling because you're with other people. What would happen if you found out that you're part of something much larger in a good way, not in a bad way? You found us, you had neighbors at one time. Yeah, it's unfortunate they had an accident, whatever. Okay. But wouldn't it be cool to find out, yes, there are other living civilizations? I'm waiting for one day, and it may not ever happen, I don't know, that they actually say, listen, because they've said this before, where they can actually see a star and they've seen something traveling in front of the sun or the face of a planet, and they found out they said there was something very large in front of one of these planets, and they said it looked like some kind of alien structure because it was so large, and it was like it was taking up like a lot of the light. It was blocking out a lot of light. And they were saying, is it a moon? What the hell is this thing? So to me, when I seen that, I was just like, wow, that's cool. And they're finding a lot of solar systems now, or new galaxies and stuff like that. Like what was that other one? There was a Trappist that had like four, planets in the actual Goldilocks zone, which Trappist, I think its star it's actually cooler, but the planets are closer. So because they're closer, it's like an equivalent to what we got here. So you got Mars to me is still in the Goldilocks zone, as far as I'm concerned. And of course, Earth is. So, but they claim that three or four of those planets in Trappist, I don't know what the other letter was, Trappist D or some weird thing, um, but it was Trappist and they had like three or four planets in a row that were actually in the Goldilocks zone, which I thought was really interesting. So we're learning, we're getting there. Now, I'm waiting for him to want him to say, "No, we literally got either radio signal or some kind of, communication signal." And I think that's what these radio bursts are, these light bursts. And that could be like, we talk about terabytes. Yeah, we got an 8 terabyte in my computer. Big fat deal. When you start talking about like put a million of those together, information through a light burst, and they gather it on the other side of the galaxy. So they receive it, and they get all this information all at once. How do we know? Because, like I said, one of those scientists from SETI, he said, well, the funny thing about it, I mean, we got one here that's from, I don't know, 30,000 or 30 million light years away. And this one's only like, 1 million light years away. Okay. What does that mean? That doesn't mean it's like saying, like if everybody's got a CB radio and it's like, out in this huge field, well, I mean, it's only coming from over there, and I can hear a radio signal from over there. What does that mean? There's people communicating with each other. How is it weird to you? So if it is a light burst, how do we know it's not information in that light and tons of information being transmitted and then received on the other side of the galaxy? How do we know? Light can travel pretty fast. You know what I mean? So, and if it's a burst, how do we know how fast it's really traveling? And it could be, we don't even know the technology. We assuming that they're on the 2.4 gigahertz range. Are you kidding me? They're probably long past that. They're way above all that. They're in light and everything else. Like we have fiber optics. We send information through fiber optics through light. So, yeah, so to me, that would be more on the spectrum I'd be looking at. William Johnson, you said they'll give us drawings instead of pictures. Well, to me, they're actual pictures, right? They are the real deal. They are, but it's the information being overlaid of them is the garbage. That's why it looks like CGI. It looks like they're either tampering with individual things or they're putting an overlay, a digital overlay on top of it. So you get this extra information. And that's what this article talks about, that this information is being laid over the top of said real photos. This is the reason why when you look at the photos, you go, why do they look like garbage? Well, it's not the photo itself. The real photo is probably HD, if not even better. It's what the final result is after jerking around with it, what it looks like. Arts and crafts, good to see you in there. You're late, but you're fine. Yeah, everything's good. Had a great holiday. I hope you and the family did as well. H-DOS, you put on there modulated laser X-ray carriers. I mean, yeah, information can be sent in many ways, right? Whether it be light, different bands. You look at the frequency spectrum alone between the government and, just simple stuff like, you got, you look at the frequency modulation, which is your basically FM dial. You go from 88 or 86 in some countries all the way up to 108, 110. And then after that, after 108, you're into the airlines and stuff like that, airplanes and stuff like that. It's just, if you learn the spectrums, you can see where the satellite is, and you see government, all kinds of stuff. I mean, but you can bet if these people are look at it this way. What would our technology look like in 100 years from now? And I'm not just talking about your phone or your watch I'm talking about technology alone. What's that going to look like in 100 years? We're jumping from leaps and bounds now. What's it going to look like in 100 years? Think about it. That's going to be crazy to learn what it's going to be like. God Phoenix 66X. Thank you for your support. Much appreciated. Your question was, what's your take on the face on Mars? That's in the Cydonia region, the face of Cydonia. Now, I did a video a while back. The photo, when you look at it, the original photo, okay, when you look at it, to me, that's the real deal. However, when I looked at it one time, it looked like a ghosted looking face over what looked like structures. So in other words, focus on the elephant in the room. Don't worry about what's in the rest of it. And this is the reason why when you see that area where it looked like it has pyramids there, and it looked like they called it the city next to the face of Cydonia, it's just crazy, crazy stuff. To me, that's real. And then the new garbage they came out with, I forget when it was, how much longer after that, but they came out with a CGI version and said, "Oh no, no, it was just trick of light. This is what it really looks like." How do you get a Viking orbiter photo that looks fantastic for its day to a CGI piece of trash and say, "Well, this is what it really looks like"? I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I believe the original photo, but I think even the original photo has been doctored. I think that if you look at it really, really good, it looks like they put like a ghosted image over the top. So almost to keep your focus on it and not the rest of the actual photo. But then you know a lot of people have ripped that thing apart. Richard Hoagland has, and many other people have ripped that photo apart, where they showed measurements from one pyramid to another on that Cydonia region, and they did all kinds of measurements, and it's just there's no way that's natural just by the measurements alone, right? I believe it's the real deal. I think there's a lot going on in that area. But funny enough, that's where one of the explosions were. One of the nuclear explosions when it was right in that area. Imagine that. Holgar, he said, I am happy you do this and not me. Well, actually, I enjoy doing it. Paul McKenzie, I didn't see you jump in there. Amy, good to see you in there. You put on there a bit late, but I usually missed a live. Love your videos, Chris. Brilliant stuff. Amy in the UK. Well, no, I mean, listen, you get here, you get here. Just you being here is awesome. Don't worry about it. It shows, face it, it's a face. Absolutely. And here's the weird thing. I'm wondering, like in that movie, was it Mission to Mars? Not Mission to Mars. What was the other one? Um, where it actually had that face in there. But is it possible? And I thought about this after because I did this video a while back. Is it possible that that face, because it looks translucent, is it possible maybe it's like a dome, and this is the reason why you can see through it? Is that possible? That's what I was thinking. Marco, you said, "Hey guys, what's going on?" Supreme Ruler, there you are. Have you all talked about Tyler's last video? Yeah, we actually did. We already touched on that. And I basically said, in a nutshell, I just said, well, as far as his personal life, I don't even care. I think most people were more pissed off at him because when he did disappear at the time, that he wasn't letting anybody know anything. And, I know he said something about, being in jail for like a week. Well, this is long since passed, long before that. But he did have some issues as far as some passings in his family. And like I said, if that's all legit, my condolences go out to him. It can't be easy. I know that for a fact. Um, but of course, if you read the comments on there, they beat him up a little bit. And of course, a lot of people are happy to see him back, which, listen, he does a lot of good work on his channel. Whether you think it's legit or not, to me, it's still entertainment. You know what I mean? It's still good stuff. He puts his stuff together really well. And I hope him the best in the new year. And like I said, if he is lying, then, karma will bite him in the ass. I mean, and I hate to see that happen, but if he's legit, then I look at it this way. It's his personal life. I leave that out of mine. I don't care. You know, Hopefully we'll get everything straightened out that he wants to, and it'll be fine. Cock and bull story, MG right? Well, I mean, like I said, some people were like, "Oh, he just come up with this extravagant story just to save his basically his income, right?" No way to know it. I'm not living his life. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right, Noodles. Yep, Mission to Mars. Gary Sneeze, correct? Yep, that was actually a really good movie. Hola from of Spain, El Bambino. What's going on? Good to have you in there. Mario Jurek, you put on there first time here. You are actually nice. Yeah, I hope so. I don't know why I wouldn't be, but all right. But welcome aboard, Mario. Good to see you in there. Red Planet too. Yeah, Val Kilmer. That's the one I was talking about. Pat, you're right. But both of them actually they were both equally good movies. If you watch them, they're really good movies. Remember the one those? Remember when they were saying that they had that big plume of what the heck were they talking about at the time? Well, actually, there was a couple things on the what I found interesting in that movie. I'm trying to remember. There was a couple. Now I don't want to mess up both movies. That's what I'm trying to get straight. I'm not going to think of it now. It'll come to me in a minute. What if there's a UFO shortage? Noodles, you said that. I don't know because to me it's like everybody with a camera is now seeing these things. Now, some people are seeing things like in a fog and they go, "Oh, look at UFO," and then the fog clears. Oh, it's a parking lot street light. So yeah, some crazy things in these, and some of them are really like questionable. Like you look at these things and go, "Wow, that's crazy," right? But I know what you mean. You're referring to, I think, Tyler, um, but he didn't always just do those. He did like a lot of sky phenomenon, whether it be weird cloud type things or sonic booms and all kinds of crazy stuff, which is legit because I've read on that stuff myself. So you know like I said, I mean, to me, it's just like he's put the stuff together, and it was pretty cool as far as like entertainment purposes. So I didn't see any problem with it as far as that. But like I said, a lot of these people are brutal on him. I mean, and I can understand that because he did actually mess with a lot of people and pissed a lot of people off. So I can, not good. Another Android. He said, "Hiya, man. What's going on?" Josh D, there you are. I really love the Tyler was back. I am not a judge over him or his life. That's what I'm saying. It's his life. You know what I mean? Everybody lives their own. Who am I to judge anybody? Like I said, if he's on the up and up, people will understand. If not, then, like I said, it has a way of biting you. Oh, okay. Photography, Light and Magic. Yeah, that's the one, basically the one we're talking about. The movie, The Faceless Mission to Mars with Gary uh, Sinise. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Marco. That's who we were talking about. Yeah. H. Toss, you put on there. Did you ever peruse the Sphinx picture, well, photo from 1997 from Sojourner? I did. I mean, I did a video on that. I said, "Is this a Mars photo? I'm sorry, is this a city on Mars?" And I did it not too long ago. But what I find interesting on there is if you go back to this video, it looks like, it looked like vehicles, like they were buried halfway in the ground, and there's multiple ones standing there. Oh, they're like all in a row kind of thing. Almost like if you were to like see a movie, like if you ever see a movie like catastrophic movie with his cars on a highway, and they kind of look like that. There's like it looked like some like a bus or some kind of weird. Some of you guys said like it looked like a train or something like that, but they were all lined up. And then when I really get into this photo, it looked like there were structures right behind them, like only frames of structures. Again, like some kind of catastrophic event happened. So that wouldn't surprise me. But the Sphinx thing, I'm not really sure of that. I'm not sure that that's what that was. I know what you're saying because it's kind of like offset in the back of it to the right of the rover off in the way in the back. And I looked at it and it has a weird shape, but I wasn't convinced of that. Archie Murchie, you put on there, hey Chris, loving the show and the channel in general. My question is, do you think NASA or the others will ever publish a real photo? I'm hoping so. I don't think they're going to do it voluntarily, at least not a crystal clear one. And if they do, it's going to be of nothing. In other words, they're going to go, okay, we have all of these photos here, or all of these things in the photo. Let's go ahead and just turn it over here and just say, just take a real good photo. But then they would have to keep showing these, right? So to me, it's going to be a little bit better photos, but I think what's going to happen is it's going to be the same old BS. You might get bigger photos, but you're going to get, to me, it's going to be the same quality, maybe a hair bit better. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But it's going to be the same old thing because once they show a crystal clear photo of a particular area, and I mean of the whole area, if you guys have ever noticed, if you look at the Marley cam, which is the one that's microscopic, right? And it looks at rocks on the ground. They're absolutely crystal clear, pristine photos. Couldn't get clear if you wanted to. But what's funny about it, when it pans up, another camera, whether it be the nav cam up on the actual, whether it be the 35 mil or the 100 mil, on the actual, nav cam, stuff like that. Just the other cams. It doesn't matter which one it is, to be truthful, because you can have the rear or front nav cams and stuff like that. And the funny thing about it is they look like trash. But anything that's on the ground close by looks perfect. It's crystal clear. Have you guys noticed that? And then all of a sudden the thing goes up and it pans up. Everything looks like crap. It's completely manipulated and looks like trash. So I'm hoping that changes, but I don't see a significant change, to be honest with you. I'm kind of hoping I'm going to be wrong, though. Yeah, Noodles. Yeah, he said a lot of UFO guys get bit. Um, but we'll see. Nefertiti, yeah, you put on there, you said Secure Team's a good guy. Hopefully he comes back full time once he gets it together. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I'm sure what everybody wants. Because once, you hurdle all that BS, and it's like, listen, whatever he does in the background with his own personal life is his personal life. I want to see what he's got to show. That's what most people, I think, were really just, that's it. James Craig, and you put on the hi, Chris. I am late, but just checking in with you. I hope you and your family have a great Christmas. Well, we did. Um, had a great Christmas, and I'm sure it'll be a good New Year. At least I'm hoping. I'm optimistic, and I'm hoping everybody else does too. Yeah, this thing jumped way the heck up on me again. Great question, Grady McNabb. You put on there. What are the chances that the moon structures and the Mars structures are related? Well, it depends on either we way back millions of years ago. Again, catastrophic event, and after try to. Well, I mean, it depends on what it is. To me, let's say we had 5 cataclysmic events here on Earth, right? And we just rebuild every time. In other words, close to extinction, but we rebuild. We come back. We come back. And way back in the day, we were the ones that were on the moon, and maybe we were spacefaring at the time. Pure speculation. However, let's suppose it was another race of people, humanoids, whatever it might have been. If they came to the solar system, then they were probably, like I said before, on every down planet or moon in the solar system, and the craft can go through any of because again, if they're far more advanced, then they can go through all of any of these atmospheres or anything like crap. If they're going for the resources of particular planet or moon, they can extract it and off they go. Now, if they did land on the moon, keeping an eye on this planet, and they probably just jump from planet to planet, and the moon to moon. It was nothing to them. Just like in X amount of years, it'll be nothing for us, you know. And of course, I already believe that they're already doing that. Um, because I'm sure they got anti-gravitics and all kinds of crazy stuff going on, that it's not even a big deal then to fly to Mars in, a day or two, as opposed to 9 months, 6 months. Because now I think they're saying that before it was taking 9 months to get there. Now they can do it in 6, they said. They can do it in far, faster time, much faster. Noodles are like that. 420 Alien, what's going on? Didn't even see you in there. Gaia is a great channel. Yep. Yeah, it's like Billy, my friend Billy Carson's on there a lot. He's on Gaia program. And fact, we're actually working on the Black Knight satellite. Um, it's a feature. There's going to be a lot of people on there, be sharing their views. Yours truly will be on there as well. So we're getting I did some enhancements on a couple of the photos. And I've actually done some videos on the Black Knight satellite. And there's 2 of them I think I've done. One in 2015, one in 2014. Because I revisited the actual photos again. And so yeah, that's going to be coming out soon. I think it's next year. Trying to get together. We're going to hook up, me and him, and do like a separate question and answer type thing. He's actually talking with Jimmy Church right now. They're doing some work together right now. So yeah, it'll be coming up pretty soon. I think the new year is going to be like awesome. So stay tuned, as they say. Josh D, Josh D, don't worry about nothing. He said, sorry. All had friends over for end of the year bash. I hear you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing sus. He said the moon is a big spaceship. Well, I mean, a lot of people claim that it is artificial. And, when you hit it with a rocket and it, basically rings for like hours on end, you right off the bat, you think hollow. And maybe it's not hollow. Maybe it's just got cavernous openings underneath, because they did say at some point it had some lava tubes and stuff like that. So it's possible maybe there's a large area there that's cavernous, and that's why it rang like that. But still, they found some extreme, like really hard metals on there, So that's what they say. Could very well be too. Frax Centurion, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. Mike over, he said electrogravitics. Yep, love it. Chris getting down. MG tell you, so why can't we get a close up of the Black Knight? Actually, I do in my video. And the funny thing about it is when you see that thing, and I've actually break it down in that video, and I'm honest about it. I said, listen, there are some photos there that are truly the thermal blanket like they say it is. There's no doubt about it. When you look at the photos, a couple of those are actually the blanket. And I'm trying to think here. I don't remember if it was the Anyway, it didn't matter. It was the STS 88 mission, but one of these blankets had come undone. It's basically for the trunnion pins. And when you see this thing, it's on the craft. Okay, you can see one blanket on one side, and then you can see this large steel pin sticking out of the other side. Well, this cover is supposed to go over that. It's actually sewed together in a fashion where it goes around the pin, and then it lays across the spacecraft. And there's sections of these things. They're not all together. It's not all one piece. And so anyway, it got away from the astronaut working on it at the time, and it flew off into space. Well, it's supposed to be like around the Earth, but when you see it, it actually in a lot of those photos is no doubt is the thermal blanket. But there's some of them that this thing, there's no way. When you see these things, and I said this, I think I used the term or I used the analogy, it was like the size of the actual astronaut, where as far as size comparison, I should say, it's about maybe the length of, as an astronaut is tall. And they're like 4 to 6 feet, maybe square or rectangle, depending on the shape or what they're trying to cover. And okay, I get that. But when you see this thing way off in the distance and it's still the same damn size as it would be next to that astronaut, okay, it's way out there. And okay, now as you get closer and closer and closer to it, what happens when you get close to something? It gets much, much bigger. So, and when you see this thing, it actually has girth to it. It's not a flat blanket like the other photos show. So clearly this thing is a craft and it's been out there for years. I mean, thousands of years. So yeah. Holger Eckerd, I must go. Food. I'll go eat. Have a good time. Thanks for stopping in. William Johnson, a good question. You think that radar has caught up to how fast you can go in space? Is there time to react to obstacles? Well, I would think so because, because these things are traveling through space. Now, there's always a chance that something's, screaming through outer space where it might be something like, 27,000 to 36,000 miles per hour zipping through space. There's always that chance of a collision, I would think, right? Now, to me, you could bet, which, you always hear in like space, either Star Trek, long field, like those like wide field, radar imaging and stuff like that, but they don't use that. But they literally, the technology is probably so great now that they can see these things from like miles and miles away, even though something's screaming going through space that fast. So there's always that chance of it, I think. But I think that they already checked I'm going to use the term flight path. It makes it sound like they're in a plane. But I'm sure they checked that long before, and the radar, because there's probably no obstructions at all. It's not like you get atmospheric or anything like that to kind of mess with the radar imaging. So I think radar, I mean, it could probably go way out there so they can have time to actually adjust and, whether they got to roll yaw or whatever they got to do to make the change to avoid it. I think I think they could do it. I think they got the technology to do it. Now, is there a chance they can still get slammed? Sure. Absolutely. Lucky Molly said, is everyone here ready for disclosure? Really ready? We don't know how others will react. They may be chaos. I'm sorry. So have supplies, food, water, etc. on hand, ready for the shelter in place, just in case. Well, again, I think we're going to have both sides of that, right? We're going to have people fearing, the unknown, which is common sense. But on the other side of the token, I think people like-minded like ourselves, we're going to be like, what's the big deal? Tell me more. I want to know more about it. You found ruins? You found what? I want to know more. Where did it come from? How long has it been there? Who put it there? So on and so forth. And we're going to want to know that. So, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd freak out. I think I'd be like, wow. I'd be like sense of awesomeness because we're not the only ones. And now it has proven it. And I think that's be welcomed by a lot of people. And, I think they've taken surveys. They ask people, what do you think if there was another alien, or another species out there living? Oh, I don't know. I don't, some of them like wouldn't know how to act. They had like a kind of a neutral answer, right? And then some of them were like, oh, I think it'd be great. And somebody like, I don't know. I'd be a little, so I don't know. But I think it's like anything else, something new, you'll get used to it. And as long as it's not, if they don't come off with it like, oh, we just found like this violent, they're literally blowing each other away in the other galaxy and they're coming this way. Of course, people are going to freak out. I would. I'd be like, who the hell's next? We, so yeah, not good. So I don't know. I think it's a toss up. I think a lot of people would be, even if you're neutral about it, you're still like, well, I don't think they're going to be really bad because they would have killed us off a long time ago. People like us would be like, yeah, tell me more. And the other people would be like, gee, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared. Can you tell me more about it? And I think they'd get over that. I think they'd I think they would literally, get acclimated and they'd get. I think as long as they start showing proof of if there was people there. I don't care if it's a simple stone hammer. Oh yeah, we found this on there. We don't know what that is. Is it possible there was intelligent life on Mars? People slowly get acclimated. Okay, maybe they could have been. Wow, ooh, ah, and then ooh, we found something else. And then, like I said, it's like you have this dream. Like you just hope they go like one day, even if they pull it out of their rear ends, guys. They go, hey, guess what? We came around this mountainside, and by accident, we found what looked like structures on Mars, and oh my god! And and then like in other words, work up to the point where people finally start going, oh wow, you know what I mean? That's what I like, and I'm hoping. I don't know if that'll ever happen in my lifetime, but I'm hoping it does at some point. John D, you put on there the Black Knight has probably been there as long as we. Yeah, and maybe even longer. Who knows? Some people say like 13,000 years. Sometimes it's a little longer, but who knows, right? Lee Palfrey, got to go. Chris, work tomorrow. Have a happy new year and keep up the good work. Now, guys, a quick reminder: you may not see any videos coming up for me this week. Not sure yet. I'm not going to promise you anything because I got vacation starting tomorrow. So I'm going to have a week off until the 6th. Now, maybe at the end of the week, I'll start knocking these things out for you. I'm not sure yet because we got some things we're going to be doing, um, you know, this week. So I'm not going to promise you guys anything. So just assume you're not going to see a video, but doesn't mean you won't near the end of the week. So stay tuned for that. I just want to let you guys know that up front. So you guys, what the hell happened? He hasn't made any videos. Maybe they got to him. But no, I just want to be let you guys know that this week I do have a vacation coming up. Thank God, because like working where I work, it's like pure madness. Especially around the holidays. So I'm glad to be off, and especially on the first. So yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna be rearranging a bench here and doing some and changing around some computers and stuff like that. So, um, getting all Gucci'd up and stuff like that. So just to give you guys a heads up. Our navigation systems has caught up to how fast we can travel in space. I don't know. Again, if you have like a long range kind of radar kind of thing, right? Um, and I mean long range. I'm not talking about like we have here, like radar detectors in our car. I'm talking about something that's, you know, uh, that can like see for miles upon miles and miles. Because again, we have things that interfere with the radar, right? What happens if you're out in void of space? There's nothing there to obstruct the radar at all. Is it possible? I don't know. Be something to look up though. Great question, William. Because truthfully, I don't know. But I would think with the technology they have right now, I mean, you remember the first, even a simple like little radar detector that came out that was funny as hell. It was okay. Now it's like, it thinks he's all the way around you. It talks, it does it all, man. It just anything you could possibly want it to do. It pretty much almost drives your car now. So yeah, I mean, I would think it's a good. I might even look that up. But as far as like speed, I mean, how fast can we travel in space right now? Now, if you're talking about, like anti-gravitics and, spaceships, it's like the speed of light. Well, probably not. But, you know, if they're going to have that kind of technology, they have to have some kind of avoidance system to be able to avoid these things, right? Or they're just going, hey, let's just hope we make it to the planet. Good luck, man. High five. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know. But it'd be something to look up. Bobby Pentland here said 2020 just around the corner and look forward to seeing more videos from Mars. Thanks for sharing, Chris. Don't know what I would do without you. Happy New Year. Stay safe. Oh, same thing with you, Bobby. Thanks for the kind words. And like I said, to me, 2020 is just, to me, it's just another day, right? It just turns another day. But it's still positive thinking, going positive ways, getting things done. I'm looking to do there's another thing I'm not going to tell you guys about because I'm not sure yet. It's in the works. To have somebody on the show is going to be pretty cool. Hopefully that actually comes about because that would be pretty neat. And I think you guys would enjoy it. Greg King. that like Greg King? What was it? Greg Kin? Kind of like that. Those long tube looking UFO near the Saturn rings, and now they have a picture of one near Mars moon. So interesting. Yeah, they've had that a while back. In fact, it was I'm trying to remember, was it back in, well, I don't know if it was back in the Soviet Union. I think it was Soviet Union back then, where they had the last photo that was taken from their craft, and it showed what looked like a cigar shaped shadow on the moon, on one of Mars moons. And what was funny about it, that was the last time they heard anything from the craft. Is that weird or what? And that's the only photo that had the person actually holding it up. So, yeah, this is what we got right here. And you can see the photo where it shows that they had taken a picture, and then that was the last they heard of their spacecraft. Just a story, or was that the truth? I don't know. Chem Skies, or Chem Skies, rather. Said, what's up? Oh, yeah, most definitely Alien Tenno. You said we have ion drives already. Well, like I said, a friend of mine, their son works with a company that works with NASA. And I asked him one time, I said, so what do you think, plasma drive or ion? He just winked at me and said, just look into ion. And this is long before they started coming out with it. And I was like, wow, sweet. Ricardo Laporas, what's going on, man? Good to have you in there. He said, hi. He said, hey, Chris, greetings from Brazil. What's going on? Good to have you in there, Ricardo. Josh D says, hammer time, hit the thumbs up button. Slam that bad boy. H. Doss, he said, free energy would eliminate the need for credit, debit, banks, and then politicians? Yeah, it'd be nice to get rid of them all. You also said, take the week off. You earned it. Yeah, guys, I mean, it's been crazy, man. I mean, sometimes you just need that breathing, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I mean, I'm going to be busy this week, just chilling, but I'm also going to be doing, I like to call it a pre-spring cleaning, because I'll tell you what, guys, I don't know about you guys, but last 3 days here, 68 to 72 degrees. Wintertime? This is December? Really? Crazy. I don't know. How's it been around you guys? Well, because you guys are scattered all over the world. But I mean, how's it been in your neck of the woods? Because for us, like I said, the last few days, even Christmas was 63 degrees. And that's not like that here at all. $420 alien, you said, yeah, and then it passed. You're right, Chris. Then it passed by an asteroid. Yeah, crazy. 76 degrees Fahrenheit in North Florida. Where do you live, up near the Panhandle, Pensacola, Panama City, anywhere up there? Or are you just talking about not quite that high in the Panhandle? But, I mean, for us, I mean, that's ridiculously high. 68 to 70 degrees? That's crazy. And now it is going to cool off next week coming up. It's supposed to be 40s for a high, and then it's supposed to go right back into the 50s. I'm thinking, oh, man. Now, I'm not getting too excited because we still got January and February. It's a good, might get our asses whooped come January and February. So, yeah, hold on. Peach Vlogs, good to see you in there. He said, have a happy new year, Chris. Right back at you there, Peach Vlogs. Josh D says, no winter here, more like autumn. Nice autumn weather with a shower sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. Power Vapor Supplies is 81 today in Clearwater, Florida. Sweet. Yes, Crystal Garden's a good one there. Norman Bergeron, the ring makers of Saturn. I started reading a part of that. I don't know if it was like a page I was reading a while back, or it was one of the videos that I had watched, and really interesting because it looks like these weird structures on the rings themselves. And I got to read more of that because it's really interesting when I started reading on that or watching. I forget. Again, this has been a while back since I've done that, so I'd have to really get into that a little bit more. Elaine Wall says, "Yep, 70 degrees here. Been in the upper 60s since Christmas Eve." Where you at, Elaine? I mean, not exactly, but I mean, what state? Arts and Crash, you said, did Chris answer my question? I didn't even see it, to be honest with you, Arts and Crash, about his accent. And does anyone, uh, does anywhere, I guess you was trying to say anyone know where it's from. Sorry, I've been making food. I actually born and raised in Rhode Island. Um, and a lot of people say Massachusetts or something like that. But it's kind of like now I reside here in the tri state area, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Funny thing about it is, it's kind of like being here in the South. Well, I don't even call it the South. It's like around the belt. But what's funny about it is like you can go from Rhode Island to Massachusetts, and the accent changes like dramatically. Like if you go into New Hampshire, because my mom lived up in New Hampshire at the time, and it's funny because they'll go. Like I'll ask somebody, "You got change?" And they'll say, "Change for what?" And I'll say, "For a dollar." They say, "Yeah, I got change for a dollar." A dollar? What the hell's a dollar? Or a box? What the heck? Where do you people come up with this crap? But just like down south, same thing. You can have like people have an accent, and then some people have this, really southern twang. And I've got friends here that go, I've heard people here, and I couldn't even understand them. They just live in 3 counties away, and I can't. I was like, my God, you're kidding me. He said, no. So yeah, that's where I'm from. This thing jumped up on me, totally went wacky on here. Power Vapor Supplies. There's lots of Florida peeps in here. Absolutely. Renee, you put on there here in the Netherlands. Also, no wind to 10 degrees 30 years ago. You could ice skate in the street. Well, yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I remember the blizzard of 78. It was so high that I remember walking, like you just go up and you're your kid, you're having a good time. You're walking up these big snow mounds and stuff like that. Whee, come back down, try to sit on your butt and, slide down the things. I remember doing that one time and I didn't realize it. Literally slid down on my rear end. I was on the windshield of a car. Didn't even realize I was on it. That's how much snow we had. In fact, there was a city bus that was right next to my house. There's a main road and it was just a side street. And they literally had to take them all out in snowmobiles. The bus wouldn't go anywhere. It was that bad. Now it's like, you might get a little snow here and there, and that's pretty much it, right? Excuse me. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Elaine. You said Western Kentucky, a proud of a hillbilly. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't care. It's funny. You know, I remember years ago, my sister-in-law moved down here before I did, and she was friends with this girl that she worked with. Well, her brother, I don't know, somehow he had an attitude with her or something like that. He says, "Oh, you think you're tough because you're from the Northeast." I listened to him and said, "Well, hold on a minute, man. You know, respect is universal. I don't care where you're from. I don't care if you're from overseas. I don't care if you're black, white, Chinese. I don't care what you are. That's respect is universal, man. Show it, and we'll show it back. Has nothing to do with it, And it's the same way I treat everybody with respect. I like everybody. It doesn't bother me, you know. Uh, Mark Matheny, West Virginia mountains here, absolutely living there over here in WV as well. Um, and to me, it's like I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're heavy, skinny. Doesn't matter what you are, man. Just you get along with me. You show me respect, I reciprocate. It's as simple as that. Archie Murchie, you said plus degrees, 10 degrees, I'm sorry, Celsius in Scotland. Very mild and a wee bit worrying. Yeah. I mean, everybody's, I believe it's a combination of things, right? You got the whole solar system is heating up. People need to understand that first and foremost. This goes on every 11 years. There's an 11-year cycle with the solar, with the sun itself, right? And people have to understand that. Now, people want to blame global warming just strictly on us. That's not the case. Again, this is the reason why Mars and every other planet in the solar system is heating up at this moment. Um, I forget what we are on the upslope as far as the 11th year cycle. But either way, the it's not just man-made. However, we are contributing it. We are accelerating it with our pollution and stuff like that. But that's not the main. We are not the main cause. Let's just put it that way. Are we contributing to it? I think so. Stella Mori said, "Are you worried about being taken off the air like Secure Team?" Not in the least bit. Not in the least bit at all. Libby T said, "Oh yeah, Chris, we got tons of snow back in those days. Don't really get that much anymore. Even here in Wisconsin, yeah, and Wisconsin usually gets hammered up there. So I'm surprised you guys are not getting what you got. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's changing. Like the Earth itself is changing. Now there's some piece. Some people will say where I live, we didn't get much precipitation at all in the winter. Suddenly now we're getting like slammed. So things are changing, but it doesn't mean it's not normal. Like I said, every 11 years, there's an 11-year cycle, and it changes dramatically. And again, the sun gets more active. It's, heats up every, planet, so on and so forth. So, yeah. Supreme Ruler says, yeah, I remember those 70 storms. Absolutely, man. Like I said, we used to get slammed bad. We loved it. You know what I mean? Like all those igloos, everybody hiding them and stuff like that. And we had them so big, the whole neighborhood built it. It's like 15 people can get in it comfortably. Had a bench all the way around it. Just sat in there. Oh, yeah. Just sitting there talking it up. We had a great time. We didn't care how cold it was outside back then. Now you say freeze warning when you get older. You're like, ooh, getting cold all of a sudden. Mark Matheny said the Earth is about to make big changes. What do you think, Chris? I don't know. I mean, again, it goes through its own changes, and it's still alive. I mean, it still has its own ecosystem. It's still, this is the reason why it's still getting volcanoes, earthquakes and everything. It's still, people think because they live in a certain area that, I don't know why we just had an earthquake. The earth is not going to stop moving because we live on it. We're just like these little, I don't know if I want to call us parasites, but we're like these little bugs living on the surface. The earth is alive. It's still changing, ever so changing. So, and then of course we got our star, the sun, actually doing its own thing. It has its own cycles. Sometimes it's super active. You get all these, solar flares, and then all of a sudden it's completely quiet, like it's ready to shut off. It's just bizarre, right? But you know, everything around us is alive. There's always something moving, evolving, doing something. And I think we're just on there, and it's not any, you know, it's nothing out of the ordinary. Let's put it this way. Now the weather seems to be a little weird, but again, that could be due to um, where our sun is right now in that 11-year cycle. It has a lot to do with it. Wakega? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It says you said men can't even live in Sahara and they want to live on Mars. Well, you can if you know how to survive in it, right? Because the sun can get very hot in the desert and get very cold at night, right? So, and Mars is no different. You know what I mean? But however, Mars, and we discussed this earlier, can get up to an average of 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit during the day in the equatorial region. Known fact, look it up. Digger, you got that right. Made a lot of made a lot of money that year shoveling snow. Man, I'll tell you what, we walked out there with shovels. We didn't come back until the evening. And of course, you were completely spent by then, right? You had no much, you really had no energy. Oh, let me have some hot chocolate and something to eat and then slip into a coma. Because you were that, like, you were just like totally blitzed out of your mind by then, right? So, yeah. She just kind of like, oh my God, I'm tired. But you came home with like $300 to $500 with no problem. I mean, you literally can clean house, man, and like make some good money. Custom tailored one. We're way overdue for the big earthquake in Pacific Northwest. Well, that's true. That's what they're claiming. They're waiting for the big one. I mean, basically, what are they saying? It's, they're waiting for California to just fall off. Now, whether that'll happen or not, I think it'll be catastrophic as far as like, you always see these movies like they're like what, 7 or 8, you know, on the on the uh on the scale there. So it's hard to tell. But I mean, if that is coming, that's scary. That is really scary. Hell, I remember they had the earthquake. What was it? I want to say about 5 years ago. They had the earthquake was in Pennsylvania. We felt it here in West Virginia. Literally, I'm laying down on my couch like this, just chilling. I wake up and say, "What the hell? So what is going on?" I looked over the dining room table. And I could see the light swinging back. I said, "Oh my god, we're literally having an earthquake! Are you kidding me right now?" So that was interesting. Never been in an earthquake. Now I used to talk to my cousin. He lived in California, and yeah, he'd be like, another earthquake. I'm like, what the hell, you know? But everything would be fine. All right, guys, I'm going to jump on off this. And 2 hours and 18 minutes. But the voice is getting a little scratchy. But still, we got to say hello to everybody. Great questions, by the way. You guys are awesome. And I do hope everybody has a great new year. If you're going to go out for the New Year's, just be safe. Everybody wants to party it up, do so. But, hey, stay home and get hammered. Because a lot of people I know go out and they go, man, it was the worst day of my life. But, just be safe. If you got to go out and do your thing, be safe. Just love the family you're with and just enjoy everything and have a good day that New Year's. And like I said, I hope everybody has a great New Year coming up, and you know, very prosperous, healthy New Year. And like I said, we'll be seeing you guys. Like I said, I don't know if I'll get anything out this week because it is my vacation. However, who knows? Maybe I'll pop one out maybe near the end of the week. We'll see what happens. But you guys have all been great this year. Nothing but love for you guys, and that's coming from the heart. I can't. I wouldn't want to. Other people. It's the best bunch of people I know. So I enjoy doing these. Just, like I said, I worked today and man, I'll tell you what, it was insane the amount of work I had to do. But I was like, I can't wait until later on, man. Get on here. I can decompress, talk with you guys, answer some questions. You guys are talking amongst yourselves. This is a great community. Couldn't ask for better people, man. You guys are awesome. And I mean that. I truly do. And nothing but the support you guys give, whether it be, just chatting it up, positive comments about the channel, monetary, what can I say? Nothing but love for you guys, man. Like I said, I've been on other chats, good chats I've seen, but I haven't seen a better set of people, man, in my life. So hats off to you guys for that. So anyway, guys, I'm going to jump on out of here. The hell was that? Yeah, I hear you, Lewis. Yeah. 6 hours of work coming up until you go to work. But anyway, like I said, guys, you guys have been great this year. 2020 coming up, going to be better. We'll definitely kick it off there for you guys. And I hope to see every one of you guys back in the New Year's. Nothing but love for you guys. And like I said, just be safe this New Year's Day and coming up. And let's hope it's all good, right? Anyway, guys, love yous all. Have yourself a good one there. And we'll see you soon. Or we'll see you back next year. Peace, guys.